Oh, my God. Turn that music down.
And welcome Donald Rumsfeld to the Opie and Anthony Show.
Sir? Hello, sir?
Yes, indeed. How are you?
Very good. Very good. What a pleasure to talk to you. Donald Rumsfeld's new book, Known and Unknown, a memoir. I've been looking through this. Fascinating stuff because you have been a part of history in this country for many years, known many presidents. Welcome to the show, Mr. Rumsfeld.
Well, thank you. It's a little embarrassing to discover that I've lived 1/3 of the history of our country.
1/3 the history.
I was a Navy pilot. I knocked on doors, got a job working for a congressman in Washington. I'd never met a congressman. And then I ran for Congress and served during the Kennedy and Johnson era. And then I was in Nixon's cabinet and Ford's cabinet and worked for Reagan as special envoy to the Middle East, and then George W. Bush's cabinet. It just kind of all happened over the decades, and suddenly I'm 78 years old.
But so haven't you, how does it feel to have, you've probably accumulated a lot of things that you know that you'll never tell anybody on the planet Earth, right?
Well, not really. I'm interested in history. I love to read biographies, which is one of the reasons I took 4 years and wrote the book and tried to discuss what it was like being inside and how the decisions are made and how complicated they are when they reach the senior levels of government.
The book, Known and Unknown, a memoir by Donald Rumsfeld, it's out there. And does this kind of open up who you are as a person? Because I don't think people really know you as a person. They see you and have seen you at press conferences and whatnot and kind of see you as, a very mysterious guy. And that kind of scares people.
Well, I don't feel mysterious. I think what you see is what you get, and I think that the book, it does open up my life, my family life, my circumstance, where I came from a small town in Illinois, went to college on a scholarship, and was a wrestler and a person who loves the country and is so grateful to have had so many opportunities to serve.
It's interesting, though, because there are people who think, here's a guy who met Eisenhower as a congressman, right?
I was running for Congress, exactly.
And worked for Ford and Nixon and Reagan and both Bushes. And there's still those people out there that think, Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney are actually lizards. Who, literally, there's people that think they're lizards from outer space.
Yeah, that's true.
Who eat human flesh. I don't know if anybody's ever asked you directly, sir, but are you a lizard?
I don't think.
Are you actually? Can you just please give that a straight answer? Are you a lizard person?
Louis a little left-leaning.
No,
sir.
I'm not. Let him answer. Are you a lizard?
Here's the short answer. Yeah. I'm in New York City. I walk down the street, people walk up, shake hands, stop me, they want an autograph. He's a lizard. Want to get a photograph with me. Go to eat last night at dinner, and Joyce and I were sitting there in the little Italian restaurant, and a man came up and said he'd like to buy my dinner, and I refused. And it turns out I paid for my dinner. The next thing I know, the waiter comes back and said the man insisted to pay for your dinner, and here's your canceled receipt for paying.
Oh, wow, that's very nice.
There's plenty of people that...
You didn't answer the question.
He's not going to dignify...
I think you're hanging around with the wrong people.
He's not going to dignify an answer to, are you a lizard, Louis?
Why not?
Because he's not a lizard.
What is the story about getting somebody paid for your dinner? I would pay for a lizard's dinner.
I think I understood the fact that there are people out there that appreciate what he's done as a leader. And
there's plenty of evidence that this guy is a well-decorated and appreciated American. And he has more credibility than almost anybody.
Exactly.
But I just want to know if he's a lizard.
He's not a lizard. Stop it. I want to apologize, Mr. Rumsfeld. Louis C.K. is a stand-up comedian, and I do not share his ideology one iota.
Matter of fact, we're meeting him for the first time. We don't even really know him, so we apologize.
Exactly.
It's usually just me and Anthony, but we said, what the hell, we'll try out this local comic.
Mr. Rumsfeld, I want to ask you a little bit about the situation that's going on now in the Middle East. You are an envoy to the Middle East. What do you see happening there? What's your take on the whole situation?
Well, I think what's happening is that we had good relations with many of the governments in there, in that region, and it was contributing to a stable situation with respect to the generally hostile attitude towards Israel, organized and very vicious, like Hezbollah in Lebanon, and or like the Ayatollahs in Iran.
Yeah.
So you could get the Muslim Brotherhood.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Radical extremists.
Exactly.
Over Egypt, which would be terribly dangerous.
Absolutely.
Listen, and these are great questions, Anthony, and they're questions that Mr. Rumsfeld is going to answer better than almost anybody in the world.
Yeah.
But I still want to know if he's a lizard and if he is.
Stop it.
If he's tasted human flesh.
No, stop.
I just want to know.
Mr. Rumsfeld, again, I want to apologize for Louis C.K. He's a stand-up comedian. He's playing at the Borgata.
It's
go to
a legitimate.
Borgata.com.
Look, if he's a lizard who has eaten people,
don't encourage him. It'll just make him worse.
I will stop the
Mr.
second
Rumsfeld.
I get a denial. I'll stop asking.
Tell Louis that my grandchildren are listening.
See?
Well, listen, they have a right to know, too.
No, he's not a lizard, and he's not tasted human flesh.
But you're answering. That's easy for you to say.
I can answer because I know the guy is a great American, a great patriot.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
He's done great things for this country. And
yes, Anthony, is he a lizard? Is Dick Cheney a lizard?
No, they're not. They are people.
Any Mexican babies? Have they eaten any human beings?
Stop it. Stop it. I know. Mr. Rumsfeld, I apologize. Louis C.K.
I paid for this microphone, mister. I want an answer.
Funny. I don't understand it. Where do you see the
Why won't you let him answer?
Where do you see the 2012 elections going? Do you see the Republicans taking the White House again? And who do you see as maybe a good front runner for the Republicans?
I don't think there is one. I think it's one of those rare times when there's not an incumbent president running and there's not a vice president running and there's not an obvious person. And I think what we ought to do is watch them run around the track a while and see how they handle things. It's a tough job, and we're going to then be able to see how their brains work, how they react, how they handle things, what kind of people they recruit for their campaign team, how effective they are in organizing. And all of those are attributes that are helpful for a president.
Before the Lizard Council meets and decides who to appoint.
The Lizard Council doesn't appoint a president, and he's not part of the Lizard Council.
If they do, don't you want to know?
No.
Don't you at least want to give him a chance to say, no, I'm not a lizard?
I don't want to picture Donald Rumsfeld on the other end of this phone listening to you asking
with red
lizard
questions.
Eyes. No, he's not with Mr. Rumsfeld.
Generation and future generations, unless people have the courage to step up and deal with it.
What was it like when you met? There's a picture of you shaking hands with Saddam Hussein. Like, what was that day like? The day you met that dude.
Oh, that famous picture.
The dude who later was hung in a badly lit room.
I tried to tell Louis that was indeed during the time when he was
I'm just curious what that day was like.
And was, okay.
I'm just curious. What was that like to meet that fella?
Fair enough.
Well, it was. I was in Baghdad at the request of President Reagan, and I kind of describe this in my book. I met the night before with Tariq Assis, the deputy prime minister, and then the next morning I was invited in to be with Saddam Hussein. And the reason that Secretary Shultz and President Reagan and I all agreed that it made sense was Saddam Hussein was in a war with Iran and had taken our embassy people hostage and was very hostile to the United States. The United States did not have diplomatic relations with Iraq, and the thought was that we, the old adage, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right.
How did we manage to get crossways with the two big countries in that region, both of them, and yet they were hostile to each other?
Right.
So we felt that it was a good idea to see if we could reestablish relations, and that ultimately was done shortly after my visit. Now, what was it like? You walk in, there's a Middle Eastern despot. Is he a good guy or a Democrat? No. He's a thug, and he's in fatigues, and he's got a pistol on his hip, and he's a tough guy and not a good guy. On the other hand, people in Iran were worse, and when you get up in the morning and look around the world, there are not a lot of George Washingtons or Abraham Lincolns. We have to deal with people who aren't perfect on occasion.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to tell Louis.
And then, so how many guys do you think you've met that died by hanging?
Oh, Jesus.
That's a good question.
Yeah, more than one.
Yeah.
More than one.
More than one, see?
Yeah.
I've never met anybody I met a girl who hung herself. But I've never met anybody who was sentenced to hanging.
He's had to deal with thugs during his
political systems, and that means that we have got to have intelligence gathering activities if we're going to protect the American people.
Exactly.
But American safety is like the biggest deal to us. American defense. We've got to keep the American people safe. But what if a whole lot of people in other places have to die in order for us to be safe? Like, what if you found out that a lot of America was going to get hurt unless we just took France and just wiped it out? Would you trade France?
Hypothetical.
Would you trade France for Texas and Arizona?
Can you imagine if I answered that question?
Thank you.
What the news lead would be?
Exactly.
It would be like the answering your earlier question, where I would deny that I'm something that you asked me.
Right. He's not going to deny he's a lizard.
But he hasn't officially denied it.
What would be hurt by denying that you're a lizard?
I did not just arrive in town falling off a turnip.
There are no turnip carts in New York City.
Well, he didn't fall off of one.
No,
regardless.
I totally understand. But no, that's fascinating to me. What would be hurt by denying? And I'm not going to ask you to deny it now. I'm more interested in what would be hurt if you denied that you're a lizard.
He's justifying the question.
Sorry, I brought it up. I apologize.
No.
But I mean, we like to think that we're a comedy show, so we're just kind of asking a silly question.
But that
there,
is
Mr.
fascinating
Rumsfeld.
to me that saying I am not a lizard might be dangerous. I want to know how it might hurt. Wait, how would it hurt your credibility?
This happened.
How did this happen?
There's a guy laughing in the background that is looking up our addresses now.
Mr. Rumsfeld, notice that Anthony Cumia is
a true patriot.
I am right behind you. I love your book, Donald Rumsfeld, Known and Unknown Memoir, in bookstores now. This thing really flying off the shelves too.
I want to ask Mr. Rumsfeld his opinion on the unions right now. It's a big topic right out there.
Well, it is, and what we've got is a government, an administration, that, according to the data, has fewer people who've ever been in business than any administration in modern history. And what you've got is a lot of people who are lawyers and professional government people, and they don't have the business background. They have very close connections to the unions, and I'm terribly worried about the.
Well, he's got a very distinctive voice. I know you could always tell Donald Rumsfeld when he was on TV,
right.
Even from the other room. You have a very strong, distinct voice. I have a couple of questions just out of curiosity. I want to ask you,
observation.
Mr. Rumsfeld, what type of aircraft did you fly?
I was flying. The last plane I flew was an S-2F, which was a Grumman anti-submarine plane.
Oh, that's cool.
Did you have more capability to fly it because of your lizard reflexes?
Stop it!
I've got a thought for you.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Folks are looking.
Are you an avid shooter? Because I am, and I love it.
I have guns. I have rifles and shotguns and pistols and at various locations. And I'm an elk hunter out in New Mexico.
So you're a strong advocate of the Second Amendment, as I am, sir.
Have you ever shot Have you ever shot a person?
No.
That's a great question.
I think everybody should be asked that.
No one. Have you shot
Have you
a
ever
person?
shot some? He was the Secretary
terrible.
of Defense. He was in charge of everybody that America killed for a very long time.
Oh, stop it.
I've been shot at. Does that count?
He's been shot at. That's
I was
crazy.
right next to President Ford when the bullet went right by his head and right by my head into the hotel in San Francisco.
Wow. Yeah. That was that crazy.
Were you ever shot at with any
Manson broad.
other, besides bullets, like plasma rays or anything else that are used
space
to take down?
Would you stop it, Louis?
Flesh-eating space lizards.
My God, man.
Who eat the poor.
Donald Rumsfeld, Known and Unknown, a memoir. I suggest anybody that's interested in the history of this fine country and the history of a patriot and this fine man, go out and buy this book. Thank you, Donald Rumsfeld. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoy being with you.
I'm pretty sure you're a
Thanks,
lizard.
sir. He's not a lizard. Stop it.
Thank
you,
he
sir.
ate people once.
You should select your partners carefully.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Just a local comic, sir, that we really don't know much about.
Yeah, I don't know
He'll be
him.
gone tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Donald Rumsfeld, everyone.
There he is. Donald Rumsfeld. Quick, hang up the phone. Oh, my God. Oh, my dear sweet Jesus.
I can't believe you didn't let him answer.
Why did you keep... Because he wasn't ever going to answer.
Why not just
I'm not a lizard?
Hear his not answering. At least
He
hear
did.
the silence
He
of
did.
not answering.
He said I wouldn't answer that because
I
it
didn't
gives
get to hear because you kept talking with other questions over
I'm
him
not
not
going to
answering.
sit there and listen to the former Secretary of Defense try to defend that he's not a lizard. Why? By
Why
you.
wouldn't you?
Why?
Because
Why wouldn't you want to live that moment?
Because first of all, he's not a lizard.
Why do you
Secondly,
want to be baby CNN instead of the only show that finally got the guy to say, okay, look, I'm going to finally say something about this lizard shit.
You know what? He
But we didn't
handled
get to
it
hear it.
like a gentleman and like a professional.
He handled it like a lizard who knows how to never answer.
No, he said, I'm not going to answer.
Did you hear at one point, and I wish you'd almost... If he has eaten human flesh, we better find out. If he is a lizard, we better know, because he's coming back.
If he ate Mexican babies, you asked Donald Rumsfeld if he ate Mexican babies.
If I was in his position, I would be I'd be happy for the opportunity to acquit myself on that.
Come on.
On that issue.
The guy doesn't have to.
What the fuck is it hurt a person to say, no, I am not a lizard. No,
Because
I haven't
then-
eaten a Mexican baby.
Because then somebody in the press can write, when asked if he was a lizard,
Yeah.
Donald Rumsfeld replied,
told a story about the guy buying him dinner. What the fuck kind of a denial is that?
It's not. It's,
What the
it's-
fuck kind of denial is that?
No one would buy dinner for a lizard in a restaurant.
I believe
he
that
was
the-
saying
that
he was
the
answering you
lizard-
through a story.
I believe that the space lizard baby eaters
He's not a space
who
lizard.
he and Dick Cheney are have some weird thing where they can't lie about it.
Listen,
Where if asked directly, they have to say yes.
Oh, you think that's a thing?
They can either not answer or they can't say, or they have to say yes. They say, do anything. Tell a story about someone buying you dinner.
So you're saying that there's something ingrained
Yes.
in the lizardness that keeps him from saying,
just saying, no, of course not.
They can't do that. Elected. He was.
Sure.
He's a great man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Donald Rumsfeld, great man. That's what I say. That's my take on
look
him.
at his fucking face.
It's he's a handsome
That
man.
is an easy mask
Look
to
at the
zip
back.
on and off.
Look
If
at
I've
the
ever seen one.
He's not zipping
I've ever
it. You
seen-
think he's zipping it over his lizard head?
every few years they update it so he ages. they got a guy that they fucking took hostage from Lucas, from the Lucas Ranch.
Industrial Lights and Magic.
Yeah.
when does he
That
go back
ages
to
him.
being a lizard?
What's that?
When does he just go back to being
And
a
he
lizard?
goes home. He's probably fucking sitting there as a lizard talking to us right now.
Holy shit,
On the phone,
really?
he's sitting. I am not going to answer that question.
Do you think he's just
He's
sitting
there as a lizard with his little fucking green legs crossed.
because he didn't have to be in public today.
That's right.
and his tail?
The guy laughing, if you probably play it back, you'll hear a lizard. The guy in the background. Yeah, he's playing with his tail.